that time of the month again where I will be doing my monthly TBR game and setting unrealistic reading expectations on myself. But isn't that the fun of BookTube? So before we get into my March TBR, took a minute to remember what month we're on there, but before we get into that, let's have a little look at how I did last month. So last month I had 5 books on my TBR. Let's see how we did. So the first was to read a classic. I picked The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. Didn't get to it. Next we had a BookTube recommendation and I chose The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula Guin, which I was buddy reading with Bob the Bookerer. Unfortunately, I have decided to DNF it just over halfway through. More on that in my wrap up. But for the sake of this, yes, I have ticked it off the TBR. Then I had a wild card, any pick, and I picked Anne of Avonlea by Ellen Montgomery, which I read with the amazing Analong group, hosted by Emily at Novel Novels. I will leave her channel details below, as well as Bob the Booker's as well. And I did read that. Next I had an award winner and I chose Network Effect by Martha Wells, and I have nearly finished it. I'm listening to it on audio. I've got about 3.5 hours left and I'm filming this on the 24th, so I've still got 4 days left. It may run slightly over, but it's pretty much done, so that's a tick for that one. And then I had to pick from the jar of intimidating reads, and I picked The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett for the second time, and for the second time I did not get to it, so it's gone back in my little jar. One day I will get to it. The other thing that I wanted to update you on was my TBR Tackle TBR. Yeah, that was right. So because Kieran posts the prompt at the beginning of the month, and I filmed this to go up before the end of the previous month, I'm always going to be sort of a month behind updating you on this. But last year, Kieran screwed everyone over, really, with the prompt. And we had to pick a book off of our TBR that was less than, I think it was 125 pages. None of the books on my TBR were over 125 pages, under 125 pages. And so if that was the case, what you had to do was switch out the 3 shortest books on your TBR for longer ones and then read one of those. Oh, awesome. So I had to switch out Kololo Hill by Neema Shah, which I swapped for Skyward by Aliya Whitley. I had to switch out An Ordinary Wonder by Buki Papillon for The Night Burns Bright by Barken. And I switched out Against White Feminism by Rafia, Zakaria. And I switched that for A Burning by Megha Majundar. And the one that I chose for to read was A Burning by Megha Majundar, but I actually haven't got to that yet. So I will roll that because I do want to complete the prompt. And there will obviously be a new prompt for March. So I will roll A Burning and I will read that in March. So if you saw my sort of kick-off TBR game video in January, you will know that if I fail my TBR by 1 or more books, by more than 1 book, then I have a punishment, and that punishment is to purchase a book by a diverse author or representing a diverse theme and donate it to my local primary school. So I only did 3 out of 5 this month, 3 out of 6 if you include the TBR Tackle. So I will be purchasing a book for my local primary school. And the one I've chosen this month is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. So I will purchase that this month and donate that to my local primary school. And without any more waffle and the like, let's get into the draws for this month. If you haven't been here before, my TBR game is very, very simple. We play a round of TBR 21's. So if you know the game 21's, you pull cards until you reach 21. If you go over 21, you go bust. So what I do is if I get close to 21, I have a choice of pulling prompts to get me up to 21. So for example, If I got to 18, then I would pick 3 extra prompts to get to 21. Or I can risk it for a biscuit, but if I go bust, I have to pick from the jar of intimidating reads. Mug. It's a mug, Gemma. It's a mug. So, the prompt-wise, every number represents a prompt. So, for example, all the two in any suit is a translated book, and then the suits relate to format. So we have clubs for physical book, spades for audio book, diamonds for ebooks, and hearts for any format I like. So let's see how we go this month. Okay, so first up we have 9 of Clubs, which is a physical classic. Okay, so a physical classic. And I've decided for that to go for Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. So this is a Russian classic, and we follow a young girl who is effectively groomed by her teacher. I don't know any more than that, but I have really been meaning to pick up some classic Russian literature. And actually this one's quite small, a lot smaller than the likes of Dostoevsky, for example. So I would really like to get to this one. And so I will put it on my TBR in the hopes that I will. Next. Okay, a 5-star prediction on audio. Okay, so a 5-star prediction. I did a 5-star prediction video right back when I first started my channel, so I went back and had a little look. I will link that video for you below if you want to have a look at what else is on there. And I have chosen We Have Always Been Here by Samra Habib. And all I know about this is it's non-fiction and it's a queer Muslim memoir. I will read this on audio because it was a spade. And yeah, really keen to get to it. I heard really good things last year. I haven't heard that many people talking about it this year, but it's on the list. So I'm going to pick that one up and give that a whirl. Okay, and that takes us to 19. So I would have to pull a 2 to not have to pick from the intimidating read jar. I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to pick 2 extra cards. So we have a physical book by an author of colour. Okay, a physical book by an author of colour. So I don't actually have the book because it is somewhere in the post. But for this, I'm going to pick Khalil by Yasmina Kadra. This is one of the books I need to read for the BookTube prize, so I'm just sort of jamming it in here. It was really difficult to get hold of, which is why it isn't here yet. It's taken like 2 weeks to come, but it will be here in time. It should be arriving today or tomorrow, but I couldn't wait any longer to film this video because time poor. Yasmina Kadra is an Albanian author and he writes in French. So this is a translated work as well, which is fab because that is also a goal of mine, to read more translated fiction. And this is a first person narrative following a young person who's involved in a French terror attack. Don't know any more than that. It's quite a small book, but yeah, excited to get to it. And as I say, it's on my BookTube prize list of books, so I will definitely be reading that one. And oh, a wild card. Any book, any format, which is lovely. Okay, fab. A wild. So any format, any book. And I'm going to put one of my buddy reads in here. And I am going to pick The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue, which I am reading with the lovely Rosie Cockshat from Rosie Cockshat. This is set in Ireland in the 1800s to do with the flu pandemic. I don't know what the difference is between an epidemic and a pandemic. And yeah, I'm very excited to read that with Rosie. Everyone says that it like emotionally destroys you, which is my favourite kind of book. So yeah, we'll put that one on for the Ace of Hearts. And that was a pretty easy going TBR. I might actually achieve that this month. That would literally be the first time I've achieved my TBR since I started my channel. So, but in true Gemma fashion, that is not all I'm putting on my TBR. Firstly, you probably have already seen my video outlining the books I will be reading for middle grade March and also for Emily's birthday bonanza readathon. I will link that video below as well, so you can check that out. So there's those books. But on top of that, I am also going to be reading Anne of the Island by Ellen Montgomery with the Readalongs group, hosted by Emily at Novel Novels. I think I mentioned that earlier. Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte, which I am reading with the Bronte Along group, hosted by Melina Reads, where they are reading all the works of Bronte through the year. I'm only joining in for the ones that I haven't read, but Agnes Grey I have not read, so I will be joining in with that in March. And there is also Bringing Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel, which I am reading with the Wolf Hall Along group, hosted by Emily at Novel Novels, Tori at Hufflepuff Discoveries, and Marissa at Blatantly Bookish. So we are currently reading Wolf Hall, which is supposed to be finished by the end of February. I am going to overrun a little bit, but we have 2 months to read Bringing Up the Bodies, so I can easily catch this up and read that one, because that one is actually slightly shorter and comes in under 500 pages. So yeah, I will be reading that. I then have my other BookTube prize books. So I already mentioned Khalil, but I have Where You Come From by Sasa Stanisic, and How to Order the Universe by Maria Jose Ferrada. So those two are also on the TBR. And then I have my other buddy read with Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl, and we're reading Girl, Woman, Other. So a pretty significant chunk of books to get to in March. I will do my best. But yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, I would love it if you could give me a like, because actually that does a lot for channels. And directing you towards one of the videos I mentioned before, my 5-star predictions video is here. If you want to go and check it out, that would be amazing. Okay, bye guys.